You know, the United States of America was the greatest country before Trump, and it's the greatest country now after Trump. The white supremacists want to go back. They want to go back to the days when it was legal to own slaves.
You are about to be entertained by the ape, the young man who has become a legend of his own time. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Okay, what's up, everybody? Yours truly, Ron Kelly, the Ron Kelly. Let me see. Yeah, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program, everybody. It's 7 p.m. Thursday, March the 5th already, 2026. Welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing? Glad you can make it. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. On Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, blogtalkradio.com. It's the RonKellyShow.com. And if you have any trouble listening to the Ron Kelly Show on Facebook, you can always go over to LinkedIn, or you can go over to LinkedIn, or you can go over to YouTube, and you can check the program out over there. Okay, everybody, it's a couple minutes past the hour. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. And, ooh, boy, what a week. Kristi Noem fired. I heard that today. I'm like, wow, really? Yeah, so a lot going on. The war. I'm not going to start any wars. And now look at us. In a war with Iran, little Iran, who really can't fight back. It's just, oh, boy. What a world we are living in today. Anyway, if you have any trouble getting the show on YouTube, you have any problem getting the show on Facebook, you can go on to YouTube, and
she then acted to think that,
and you can hear us there. All right, everybody, it's a couple minutes past the hour. Tonight, later on in the program, we'll be talking to a panel of black women who, I guess they're tired of me kicking their backs in. So there's going to be a panel of black women. They'll be coming into the show a little bit later on in the program. And everybody, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Raining like crazy outside. It's been for the last couple of days. But at least it's not snow anyway. So, you got to be grateful. And although all this stuff is going on, the war and this and that and the other, there is a good news that the daylight saving time is coming back on Sunday. Saturday going into Sunday, so we do have something to be happy about. All right. Anyway, it's a couple minutes past the hour. So yeah, so we're back at war with Iran, and man, it's just one thing after another. And Jasmine Crockett lost, and I know everybody's all kind of upset because she lost. Jasmine Crockett lost in the election the other night. And, it wasn't, she didn't lose, she didn't get, destroyed. Like some of them did. Wesley Tate, who was saying that there's no racism in America. Well, Wesley, you lost, and you should know why you lost. Yeah. So,
to think that deporting people is wrong.
Okay, so Kristi Noem got fired today, and I kind of knew that was going to happen because she's just way over her skis. She just wasn't ready for that job as being the Homeland Secretary, because that involves a lot. It's not just. It involves a lot, and it's not just trying to get people to it's not, hold on, let me take a break. I'll take a break and come back with more. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program, and it's on blogtalkradio.com. It's the RonKellyShow.com. Okay, we're back, everybody. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. And I just don't know what the hell is going on with Facebook that the Ron Kelly show is not broadcasting on Facebook right now. And I just don't have any idea as to why, to be honest with you. I really don't know. I did everything that I was supposed to do, but I don't see the program on on Facebook. But you can go over to YouTube, or you can go over to LinkedIn and you can watch the program over there, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. Man, how frustrating. How frustrating is this? Yeah, so Kristi Noem got fired today, and I kind of knew, that Trump was going to get rid of her because there was just so much going on. And, when she called out the people who got shot in Minnesota, she called them, she called the people, she called them terrorists. Yeah, she called the people terrorists. And I really have no idea why she would do something like that. And then she refused to, apologize to the folks, to the families of these people. So, so I really don't know why. I'm trying to figure out while I'm on the radio with you guys, I'm trying to figure out why the Ron Kelly show is not broadcasting on YouTube, on Facebook for some ungodly reason. I just don't know why it's not. I'm trying to figure it out while I'm talking to you guys. But I just don't know. I don't know why the show is not broadcasting on Facebook right now. Yeah, this is like unbelievable. So, so I'm trying to muddle through this thing while I'm trying to figure out why the show is not. It says it says I'm live, on the Facebook, but I don't know why it's saying. Well, I'm looking at Facebook and I see that I'm not. Let's see. Okay, yeah, all right. It looks like I am. I'll get this stuff figured out at I'll get this stuff figured out at some point. Right now it's frozen, it looks like. Oh God. Oh boy. It looks like. Oh God. Oh boy. Okay, well, it seems like I'm not moving Lamont. I'm going to holler at Lamont Gates a little bit later on and try to find out what's going on with this thing. It seems like I'm not moving Lamont. I'm going to holler at Lamont Gates a little bit later on and try to find out what's going on with this thing. It seems like I'm not moving Lamont. Yeah, I don't know what's going. I'm like, wow. Ron Kelly needs to get his thing together here. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. So a little bit later on, we're going to be, Lamont Gates is saying I'm on, so okay, cool. Yeah, because I can't see it on Facebook. And you notice I got a little scratch here on my left cheek. I'll explain that to you a little bit later on. Somebody liked my car a little bit more than I did, but my car's outside, so I won. Anyway, we'll get to that a little bit later on in the program. And we'll be talking to some ladies, some African American, my black queens, and they'll be coming on a little bit later on in the program, and we'll be talking about some of the misnomers that are some of the things that are said about black women, some of the things that are said across the ethnic. Yeah, sounds okay. Thank you, Lamont Gates. Thank you, Lamont Gates. I gotta holler at Lamont Gates. Lamont Gates' show is doing pretty good over there, talking about near-death experience. So you can check him out, Lamont Gates' near-death, I should say, experience. Like I had one the other day. That's why I got this little thing on my right cheek. Got into a little fisticuffs, but I won. So it's a dangerous world out here. So everybody keep your. And it's a good thing I was looking behind me, because if I wasn't looking behind me, I probably would have got caught out there. But I didn't, and everything is good. And I have a, anyway, we'll get to it a little bit later on. But a little bit later on in the program, we'll be talking to a panel of black women. I invited several black women to come on the program. Let's see. Samari Jackson is already here. So, we're going to get to her in a minute. I think she's only on audio and not video. Samari, are you there? Hello?
I'm here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Samari doesn't want to be seen, so okay, we'll get back to her. Linda Galashaw is on the road. I didn't notice she lived way down in South Jersey now. She pulled out of Patterson. She's in South Jersey now. I didn't even really know that. She's been gone since 2021. When she moved. Now, I didn't even really know that. So she's on the road. She'll be here. Angela Muhammad is supposed to be here. It's only 13 minutes past the hour, so she'll be here shortly. And we're going to be talking. We're going to be talking about some of the myths and misnomers, the things that people talk about when they regards to black women. So we're going to get into that. And no, we're not going to be fighting, scrapping. No, we're going to try to reach some kind of, we're going to try to make peace. Make peace, because a lot of bad things are said about black women, loud and obnoxious and angry and confrontational, and those are the first things that people say about black women, before they say anything nice. And and I asked a couple of sisters, I'll say that I asked a couple of sisters, name something good about African American women, and even a couple of them weren't too sure about what to say. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, Trump fired Kristi Noem. She was way over her head. I can't understand why he even appointed her in the first place. Because she was being the governor of North Dakota is not a big deal. Less than 1 million people live there. So it wasn't governor of New York maybe, or California or something like that. A big country. But she was the governor of North Dakota, and nobody lives there, So when he first appointed her, I'm like, that was a loyalist pick, because she supported him during the election, and she was his boy, she was his girl or whatever, and she said the right things, she did the right things. And she helped him campaign and stuff like that. So that's why she got that job. That was like a gift for her doing, what she did as far as like helping him. So when he first appointed her, and not because she was a woman, but I just didn't think that she had the, wherewithal, I guess you can say, to take that on that job. That's a big job, because you have the border, immigration, customs, the border protection. There's a lot that goes with that. And that, that job was created by President Bush, the second Bush, after the 9/11 incident. That's when the Homeland Security Agency was formed, and it covers a lot of stuff. There's hundreds of thousands of people and lots of different agencies, some that we don't even know about. So I knew she was over her skis, like they say, when she took on that job. So we're waiting for a couple of other women to come in and populate this. We'll take a quick break because it's about 17 minutes past the hour. We'll take a quick break and come back with more of this program. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the Ron Kelly Show.
Yes, indeed, I am the man. Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go.
George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
Alrighty then, we're back everybody. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com. Oh boy, it's a whole bunch of people just showed up. Linda Gallishaw, who's probably the leader of this gang, along with and Angela Muhammad's the vice president, and vice president and sergeant at arms, the enforcer, and Samari Jackson, who I haven't met yet. So anyway, everybody, we'll get to that in a second. Amica and Porterfield Transportation. Hey, Angela, Amica and Porterfield Transportation has been your source to get you to and from safely to and from your destination. They handle just about anything that involves getting from where you are to somewhere else. They do school districts, all kinds of stuff. School districts, private school transportation, casino trips, family reunions, you name it, they can do it. So give them a call, 888 just give them a call. You can email them at amica.porterfield@verizon.net. That's amica.porterfield@verizon.net. 888-753-6423, 888-753-6423, 888-753-6423 is a number you should call if you need to get somewhere. Amica and Porterfield Transportation since 1980, providing safe and reliable transportation to and from your destination. Okay, so Angela Muhammad is here. Linda, I'm not sure where Linda is, probably on the parkway somewhere. On the turnpike. Linda, please be careful.
I'm on the turnpike. I'm good. I'm driving.
Yeah, because I can see like a shadow maybe. Okay, all right. And Samari Jackson has her mic turned off. I'm not sure why. Let me unmute her. Samari, let me see if I can unmute her. No, Darlene Morris is here. Oh boy, man, I'm so outnumbered here tonight. I am so outnumbered. There's so many people here. Okay, all right. So Darlene Morris needs to unmute herself. If she's mute, there you go. Samari Jackson, you're still muted. Angela Muhammad, you're still muted.
I'm here.
Okay, let's get everybody. Okay, all right. Boy, we got the full house. The full house is in the house. Okay, everybody, it's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. So listen, so we're gonna, and I told some people who were gonna be listening to the program, we're not gonna be fighting and arguing or anything like that. Okay, okay, Lamont Case is telling me to mute mine. Okay, I can mute it when they I can mute it when they talk. Okay. All right. So let me put this out here. I mean, any one of y'all could answer any one of the questions. Yeah. So here we go. Now I asked earlier, on my Facebook page about some of the things that not just black people or black men, but some of the things that people say about black women that's not true. Angela, we'll start with you. I see you texting somebody, but let's start with you, Angela. What are some of the things that people say, and not just black people, but people across the board? What are some of the things that they say about black women that you think is not true?
That I think is not true, that we are bitter. I think they say bitter without considering our sojourn. We can be labeled as having an attitude. And I think one of the biggest labels is that we're lazy. We're some of the hardest working people on the planet because the work is never done. So that'll be start with.
So you don't think that black women have an attitude? You don't think that black women are bombastic and aggressive and all of that type of stuff? You don't think that?
I think some of us can be, to generalize all black women, but I think people look without considering what may have a woman in a bad place or space And come on, if we can just admit that black, especially in America, have been stereotyped, but our history. Okay, I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna leave it. So me and Buster is in the we are in the cotton. We picking cotton. We both got on burlap, and Miss Ann comes on the porch, and she's looking good, smelling good, because I stayed up all night sewing her dress by hand. And she got that imported perfume and bath oil. I got on burlap. So Buster stops and starts checking Miss Ann out. And, she's appealing to the eye, and she smells good. But we in this work together. And I think that may be the beginning of the quote unquote attitude that Black women could have with the loyalty of Black.
Okay, Linda, I can see the cars behind you. So I can see the cars behind you. Should nobody be out there on a nasty night like tonight?
Got that right. It's
But
a
I
lot of
understand
traffic out
you
here on
gotta
the
do what you gotta
turnpike.
do.
That's
So
right. It's a lot of traffic out here on the turnpike.
yeah, so you be careful now. So but that so it's somebody else's fault that Black women are the way they are.
Am I saying this is somebody else? Am I saying this is somebody else's fault?
Yeah. So because anytime I ask a sister, why sisters so confrontational and combative, and they talk about like what they've been through. So is it fair to say that is it fair to say that you are? I mean, is it fair to be a product of your environment or let a bad relationship change you into something?
Well,
You know.
let's look at the beginning of a little girl. Have you met a little girl that's just having attitude? It's nothing and nothing. That little girl is one of the most sweetest people that you can meet, especially a little girl that has not been into any situations that can taint her. And that's the thing. They try to subtract the history to the woman. I don't believe every Black woman are combative or having. At the same time, I have to speak truthfully about what she's been through. So it's not about anyone else. It's consider what she's been through. Just like we consider and goes through. I know every time he leaves the house, he's being hungry. I consider that.
See, now,
I don't necessarily think that women come across it's a matter of perception. Because, I know I've been accused of being aggressive or whatever. And I don't think that that's it at all. I think that sometimes when I'm expressing myself, that I get impassioned. And because I'm impassioned, it may come across as though I'm being aggressive, but that's not the case at all, because I have 3 sons. And they'll be like, why are you? I mean, no, it's not that. It's just that this is serious to me and it's important to me. And like when I'm feeling it, it comes out. And another thing is that I'm not going to crowdsource my opinion. If I have an opinion about something, that's my opinion. While I give you the opportunity to be able to disagree with me, it doesn't mean that I'm going to naturally conform. And as far as the history is concerned, now I don't know if my history is different from other people. I was raised by a single mother, and I think that she raised me well. Now I've been married now. Matter of fact, this past Sunday made 51 years that I'm married to my husband now.
Well, congratulations, and wow.
But what I want to say is that when I first married him, because I was raised in a single family home my father was not in the home, although I knew my father very well and we had a close relationship. But what I found was that my sisters and my mother had 3 girls. We didn't know that you don't just talk to a man like that, okay? Especially in public. Okay. And so as when I first got married, my husband started like he started, you don't say that to me, or you don't do that to a man. And I'm like, "Why- like, who are you? So then, but I had to learn that there's certain behaviors that are acceptable and not acceptable. Just like he didn't know certain things that I had to teach. So I think it's just a growing thing and learning how to understand one another. And it's not necessarily aggression. It's just that we communicate differently sometimes. And like now, like when, like even when I'm annoyed with them, I'll just be like, yeah, okay, whatever, because it doesn't make sense to me, particularly at this juncture in our life, to be, arguing about stuff because like nobody's going anywhere, so you might as well get along. But I'm just saying, I think that sometimes it's behavior. I think that sometimes you just have to know what's acceptable. And I think when you talk about it, it's also perception, how you perceive what I'm saying. And sometimes when you show me what your perception is, I can adjust because I don't want to come across as though I'm trying to dog you or take over or whatever the case, or be what they call that aggressive woman. I may be just trying to express myself because something means is dear to me. So I think that as we approach those understandings, we get along better and we can appreciate one another. Plus, black men may look at other cultures and see the women, like when I think about the Arabic culture, they're more docile and ladylike. Well, you know what? I'm a woman, I'm a lady, I'm all that too. And I can switch up just like we code switch when we're in public. We'll act a certain way when we're in professional meetings as opposed to differently at home. So I think that those things have to be taken into consideration. And it's not necessarily aggression, it's just tone. The tone in which you speak to someone can determine how they'll perceive it.
Right, because yeah, and I agree with that because I tell women all the time, like especially my African American queens. I can't say nothing bad because Angela's on the phone with us. No, no, but it does that does matter because you- because and been in relationships where I said to the young lady, I'm like, look, some of the things you say to me, if I said it to a man, we'd be on the floor. You know, we be fighting. The way you're, talking to me, being a bit disrespectful. If I talk to a man like that, like a lot of the things y'all say to us, not y'all, the present company excluded, it would be a fight if another man said some of that stuff to me. But going back because we go through stuff too. Men go through bad relationships too. Black men, we go through bad relationships. And I try to say, like, I mean, the first time you was in love, for example, I got Linda on mute because Linda's car is making
Oh,
a lot
okay.
of
I can do it.
yeah,
I'll put
but
it on.
yeah, I had Linda on mute for a minute. I definitely want to talk to you, Linda. And Samari put herself on mute. So, okay, now you think back, and I think back to the first time I was in love, right? Man, I mean, because the first time you were in love, you ain't been hurt yet. You know what I'm saying? So the first time I was in love with the girl, Donna Lewis. I still remember her name. There's a lot of names I forgot, but I remember Donna Lewis was my first girlfriend in grammar school. And she was a little bit taller than me, believe it or not, because I didn't start getting taller. I'm like 6'3" now. But I was short when I was in grammar school. Donna Lewis, I ate, slept, and drank Donna Lewis. I would be at her house, carry her books in the morning. I would carry her books back home. She was the world to me, like the first time I was in love. And what happens is, I guess the first time you get hurt, it just kind of changes everything. Where, because you don't know, like, if somebody cheated on you until you experience it. You don't know, you don't feel that love hurt until it actually happens. So I think that once we get hurt, it kind of changes our perception. Uh, because if you go down a street, you get jumped going down a certain street, you're not going to. If you get hurt going down a certain street, you're not going to walk down that street again. So so the first time we get hurt, it changes our perception of like what love is, and then we'd be like, oh, I'm not going to go through this no more. I'm not going to go through that no more. Now we got the red flags. I hate that expression, red flags, because this is what happens once we've been hurt. Now, so what? It's been my experience, right, that when I meet a woman, especially a black woman, when we meet each other, and Angela, I want you to speak to this. When we meet each other, it's like, you know, it's not, we're not wide open with our opinions or our, when we meet each other, it's like, well, um, he probably got a bunch of baby mamas, he probably got a bunch of girlfriends, he may not be working, he probably just a slickster, trickster. That's what has happened to us when a black couple get together. They're not a couple yet, but when they get together, it's watch out for this, watch out for that. We're like we two adversaries, when we get together. Speak to that, Angela.
Interesting. Samari and I, and maybe for a couple, and I'm sure she's gonna. I would say our history, it shapes, especially being in love, perfect love. If we didn't learn, but I believe that a court take place, because if I don't walk it blindly if not. I mean,
Echo.
vicious.
Yeah, Angela, something's going on with your audio, honey.
Okay.
Yeah, something's going on with your audio. Darlene, I heard great. Linda's in the Indy 500 right now. So Linda, I think Linda muted her own mic, but she could unmute it. I'll text her and tell her.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Linda. Okay, yeah, because I knew you had muted your mic. But but go ahead, Angela. There's something going on with your.
Okay, am I still?
Yeah, it's like it's blacking. It's kind of like breaking. I don't know if you.
Well, I'm gonna turn it.
Yeah, because I definitely want to. Yeah, because I definitely want.
It will echo.
Is that better?
Much better.
Okay, it's the other device I had close to. Okay, so Samari and I were just having this conversation, and hopefully she will chime in on that. First of all, hey Queen, darling, how you doing?
Hello.
So that first single, some of us take it and apply it to the rest of our lives. I believe that my heart, Angela's heart, and talents are worthy of investigation. Not that I'm going to accuse you of anything. However, if I do some research to put some money in an investment, what do you think I'm going to do when it comes to my heart, my mind, my body, my soul, my spirit? I must, not that I'm accused, because that's the word you use. And I think that accusations is what's stemming this perpetual beef between male and female in the black community.
Okay, but so when you meet a man, are you able to, and this is for everybody, Darlene's married 50 something years, so, we're gonna rely on her wisdom, because I barely been alive that long. But uh, do you think that if you grew up with a single mom and she was kicking the daddy's back in all the time, like black men ain't nothing, your daddy ain't nothing, especially when they start struggling and start getting mad, and I've always said that some women grow up with that, like, oh, 'cause this is what they've been hearing all their life growing up, like black man ain't nothing, he's a bum, he don't want to work, he's unreliable, won't take care of his kids. So do you think that, either one of you can answer that, do you think that affects women, in their upbringing. So when they get older, they start thinking like that.
I
Well,
would
it's
say,
funny. Go ahead, Angela.
I'm sorry. I would say for me, actually, my father and mother were married. However, they separated. My father, I had access to my father. He wasn't the biggest provider. Um, One thing my mother did not do, though, she did not kick my father's back in. And I think his missing his presence made me a little bit more tender to men, actually.
I think that's funny because my mother absolutely did not ever kick my father's back in. In addition to that, she would not allow anyone to say anything negative about my father around us. And if they did, she would immediately correct them because she didn't want us to have that negative perspective of my father. I think that I have a different perspective with regards to black men. I'm not suspicious of them, and I'm just not. And I think back when I met my husband, and right away I thought he was a nice guy. I just thought he was a nice guy. It was something that was different about him, but I always, from the day I met him, I thought he was a nice guy, right? And we got married less than a year of knowing each other, and it took some growth. But I think that what I think is that there was something that you said, Ron, that struck a nerve with me. I'm trying to go back to it. Like with regards to growing up and it having an effect on us. I think that it can have an effect on us, but I know what I want to say. I remember when I was working in this district in Patterson, and I was working at an alternative school, and I was speaking to some young ladies, and in the conversation it came up, and they asked me how long I had been married, and at that point, I had been married 35 years, right? So I saw I've been married 35 years. They was like, he gonna leave you. I was like, why would you say that? And I think that because there's so many homes where there's only the mother, this way, especially in the black community, there's so many homes that they don't think that it's natural for us to stay together. You know what I mean? So they get this perception that black men don't stay with black women because all the girls across the board said he was going to leave me. And it was funny to me because I would have never thought that. So I think that by them coming up like so many people that I know, kids were born up with just them. They may have had access to that, and I was brought up in a single family home, but my mother always made sure that we loved our father. But I think that and my mother and father were married, and he ended up leaving when I was, I don't know, 8 or 9, somewhere in that area, but he was around. So, but I think that because there's so many homes brought up like that, they don't think that. And even when you tell them, like when I say that I get back when I said I was married 50 years, people be like, to one man? Yeah, one man. It's so unheard of nowadays. And I was saying to my husband the other day, I said, like, we never thought about being married 50, 51 years. It just kind of came up on us, you know what I mean? And then you're there. We were working out life, and then you're there. And then it is something to be celebrated. But then you think about all the challenges that you went through and the sacrifices that you made to stay there. And I think that people aren't as committed. See, my first commitment was to my children. Because I have 3 boys, I didn't want them to be brought up in a home that father teaches their sons things that I can't teach them. So, and it was the running joke in my family was when my youngest son, who is now 41, and I tell my husband, yeah, well, when Kyle, when we get into an argument, yeah, well, when Kyle turned 19, I'm leaving with him, Baba, I'm leaving too, But then in the interim, we became friends and we became closer. And because I used to think to myself, what am I going to do living in the house with him alone? So, and I didn't think that I would enjoy living in the house with him alone without my kids. So I think that, when you go back and think about all of these things, and when I think about how I grew through it, I think about how my mind was changed. And we don't give ourselves time to change our minds, to grow, and to understand. I didn't know you don't just run up in no man's, because I run up in the man's. When I first got married, I run up in his face just like I run up in anybody else's face. But then he taught me, you don't treat a man like that. And he explained it to me. And I started to understand. And I started to see that. And my father, I just want to say this. I don't want to take over the whole conversation, but I want to say this. I was pregnant one time, and me and my husband had some kind of challenge. So I called my father and I was like, Dad, he did this and Fernell did that. And I'm telling my father didn't say a word and he did this and that and the other and blah, 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 blah. And my father waited till I finished. He said, well, baby, because I was his youngest child at the time. He said, well, baby, you're not the easiest person to live with. And I was like, how could you say that? He said, well, you kind of hard, He said that, I heard him, I probably didn't know immediately how to change it, but I heard him because my father adored me. And I know he wouldn't say something to me to hurt my feelings, and my father was a very intelligent man and he was a very handsome man, so I heard him and I didn't probably know how to make that adjustment, but over time I learned how to make that. And I'm gonna tell you, I thank God every day of my life because I really believe I have a charmed life. I really, really do. And whether anybody else agree with that, because that's how I feel about my life. I love it the way it is, and I thank God.
All righty then.
Amen.
All right,
Amen.
I saw the ghost of Linda Galashaw. Oh, there she goes again. You know what it is? It's the street lights that she's driving past. So they're like in Samari. I don't know what happened to Samari. Her mic is on. I don't know what happened with Samari.
Well, I'm listening.
Oh, okay. All right,
I want
Samari.
to say, okay, I'll wait. I'll go after her.
You know what? Let me take a quick break. Let me take a quick 30-second break, and we'll come back because I have my affiliates are yelling at me in my ear. So we'll take a break, and we'll come back with more programs. Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show, being brave tonight. And and it's on blogtalkradio.com, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, WBOK 12:30 a.m. in New Orleans. This is Ron Kelly.
Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go.
George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
All right, we are back. Somebody's missing. We're back, everybody. It's Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. It's Thursday. It's March the 5th already. And man, you know what? There's a war going on, all kinds of nonsense. People getting shot up and all kinds of stuff. Somebody tried to take my car from me. My car is still outside. So I won. But despite all of that, I'm happy because Sunday, daylight savings time is coming back on Sunday. So that means that the daytime days are going to be longer and the nights are going to be shorter. I mean, I guess some people may not like that either, but hey, baseball is up. So before you know it, we'll be at the House Music Festival shaking our groove thing. Before you know it. Anyway, everybody, we're back at the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program all across the social media spectrum. We just everywhere. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, WPRK 1230 AM in New Orleans and some other places where they're stealing my show and I don't know that where they're stealing the show and I don't know. I'll find you though. I'll find you. So so we're having a discussion this evening. Angela Muhammad, Samari Jackson, who we haven't heard from yet, Darlene Morris, and busy Linda Galashaw is with us tonight as well. And like I said, when people were asking me, like, what are you going to be doing tonight? I said, I'm not going to be fighting. We're going to try to get a better understanding of each other because there is kind of a disconnect, I would say anyway. I don't know about the rest of the ladies here, but there is kind of a disconnect between um, black men and black women where we suspect each other. In the beginning, we suspect each other of all kinds of heinousness, you know. When I'm in a relation, when I get out of a relationship, I don't jump right into another relationship. So you got to heal, you know. So is that part of the problem, Samari, that the women, people don't heal, especially in our community, because we don't really believe in therapy. I believe in therapy. You know, I'll go to a therapist in a minute. You know,
I can say,
so is
I
that
can
part
say
of the
this.
yeah? Is that part of the problem? Go ahead.
No, I think when a man keeps a woman in a good place, he's going to get the best of her, period. I think it's not all on the woman to be respectful to the man. It's a mutual thing. You
Right.
know, men are grow up without fathers and, grow up without their moms, and they don't necessarily know how to talk to a woman, how to treat a woman, how to respect a woman. So some women react to that.
I want to bring a totally different
Linda,
perspective.
yeah, yeah. We haven't heard
Uh,
from Linda tonight. Linda, can you? Is it all right? Safe for you to speak?
yes, it's safe for me.
Okay. What do
I
you
would like
say?
to bring a totally different perspective to this. I think that, and I really hate to even introduce the word slavery to our conversation or any other conversation, but I do believe that spiritual, emotional attachments have been passed down genetically and systemically that have damaged the relationship between black women and black men, and it started way back then. It was then that the black woman was used to protect not only her children but her man. The whole family was at risk of being split up sometimes if it wasn't for the black woman that was able to lend her body and her soul, misplaced soul, to save her family. She has always been more valued or highly valued over the value of that black man. That has been the noose around his neck sometimes, that black woman. And she has carried the family through that slavery movement. And it's just hard to take a back seat now when we were always pushed to the front. Even in society now, I think that Caucasians would rather deal with a black woman than a black man. Because if you look at the statistical data that's available, black women sometimes out earn black men 3 to 1. How's that possible? How's that possible? They can have the same job, and yet that black man can be making less money. He doesn't receive the respect that he should have. And sometimes he doesn't even get it in his own home. And I agree with, I think that Samaria said, that sometimes he doesn't know how to be that man because he didn't have that example. And we as black women, we always, mostly all of us had that example in our home where our mothers were strong. They were in control and they had to be aggressive because sometimes they were doing it by themselves.
Well, I agree that how you grew up has a lot to do with how you conduct yourself as an adult. If you don't have the proper, uh, like a lot of our kids are gang members and all of this type of stuff because they didn't get they for some reason they feel like they can get more love from a gang than they get from their from their
Well, can
parents.
I say
I think
something
that
else?
yeah, and social. I think that social media has a lot to do with how how black men and black women interact with each other, how we conduct ourselves. Because most of the time, when you go on like TikTok or something, for example, you see it's the black woman is saying, "I ain't getting out the car," I ain't showing you my license, and she winds up getting dragged out of the car. So I think that's part of it. But I wanted to go back to Samari. See, Linda, you make a good point, but this is 300 years later, you know. So we have to figure out.
The damage is done, Ron. I'm talking real trauma. When you see a woman, a pregnant woman that's 8 months pregnant, cut in half and the baby dropped out and then spliced, that trauma is innate. It travels.
But
Okay,
none
what
of us
about the
has.
mothers that were carrying babies
No, I get
during
that,
slavery and suffered?
but none of us have seen that. I mean, that's not now.
But it's passed on.
It's
The trauma is still there. That
every,
baby was in the womb as she saw all these things, as she felt all the pain of her mother. The baby was in the womb. That's what I mean. Some things are genetically passed on.
So you're saying that something that happened 300 years ago is still prevalent in our
Oh,
thinking today?
definitely. Definitely. Trauma is trauma.
Linda, let me substantiate what you're saying with this. Just now, and I can't remember, my son and his girlfriend had a baby. Linda, I told you about it. The baby will be
Right.
5 months old Sunday. So they were both on drugs. So I ended up with the baby from birth, right from the hospital. It came with me. Okay. So I had the baby the first couple of months by myself, right? So, but my son and the girl got off drugs and I allowed them to come into my home. All right. And so, and because I always wanted them to bond with their baby, and they're not on drugs. So they get tested 3 times a week. Right. And it's funny because the baby is just getting ready to turn 5 months old. And they've been here for 2 months, and that baby prefers his mother over me. Because
Mhm.
the thing is that in this short period of time, now I had the baby all by myself, with me and my husband, and laying on my chest and all that kind of stuff. But when his mother comes in now, and I could actually have him come here and show you, he start, trying to leave me. And I said, boy, you turn your back on me awful quick,
That's
but
right.
it's an innate thing and that's why even
You
when
can't break that bond. You can't.
he was saying, "Oh, they can only come 2 days a week." I said, "Oh, no, 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 no. They can do more than that because that's their baby, and I want them to be able to take care of it. I want them to bond with him and him to bond with them because I'm not gonna be a 70-year-old woman with a little baby, 2, 3 years old. They need to grow up and they have been. Thank God, and I pray that for their success. So I have to substantiate the fact that there are things that are innate. Now, whether or not you can move from that, I don't know. But I know
Right.
that there are things that are innate. And even like me, my mother would always say, "You're just like RV, like my father." And as an adult, I see a lot of my father in me, so I don't know. So I think that she's just
Yeah, but see, but slavery, we talk about slavery a lot, and how it affects black folks. We talk about that a lot. Um, and people kind of sit in that. I mean, it's 2026 now. We don't have this. Yeah, there are some guardrails and stuff that are in place that kind of stop us from doing what we want to do, redlining and stuff like that. But when do we stop? When do we stop with the slavery stuff,
No, 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 Ron.
and
I
move
say we don't
forward?
use it as a crutch, but we realize what it is, and then we conquer that and we move on. But
may I,
don't try to act like it doesn't exist.
may I inter-
Until you face your weaknesses, you cannot conquer them. And denial will not help you improve on yourself. Self development comes from the acceptance of self, whatever it is. That's
Yeah,
like
okay,
a
yeah.
alcoholic that says, "I'm not an alcoholic." I mean, you call me that. I drink every day. I get drunk, but I'm not an alcoholic. Yes, you are. Until you accept the fact that you're an alcoholic, you can't help yourself. You're not going to get any better. So let's call it for what it is, and then move on, like all other cultures and ethnicities have been able to do. Because at one point, all of the cultures, all of the ethnicities were enslaved, and yet they were able to move past it. But this is a certain type of trauma that arises in certain situations, and you don't know where it comes from. And that's what I'm talking about. It
Well,
could definitely
well,
be systemic.
what I could
And there's
say is
studies that
that
prove that.
what I
Is it
is
Samari or
that
Samaria?
plays a
Marley.
big part on how Black people are perceived. Everything about us, it magnifies and shows the negativity amongst us on the news, on social media, in books, in the movies. So it's when that's constantly shown, it becomes embedded in people. Now, I've been to Africa several times, and the way people relate and connect, and that's all Black, The way people relate and connect with each other over there is totally, totally different than it is over here. Everybody is sir, madam, ma'am. I mean, it's a certain type of respect there that I don't see here very much.
May I interject? First of all,
Society is what has us acting the way we are acting amongst
well,
each
wait a
other.
minute.
Is it
Well,
societal thing?
I think it plays a big part. You know, it's like you watch a movie, young girls watching a movie, and they see all this ratchetness going on. They might think it's cool and want to mimic that same behavior. Same thing with the young boys. They think it's disrespectful. I mean, they think it's okay to call a woman out of her name, and it's accepted. A lot of those negativities become accepted, and it becomes a social norm.
It's the American culture. Sorry.
That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is that America has done damage to the authenticity of who Black people truly are.
Exactly.
Okay, listen, we're gonna need y'all to come back because the show is just about over. We're gonna need you ladies to come back. Would you guys agree to come back and we talk about some other things? Would you agree, Angela, Darlene,
Wonderful,
Linda,
wonderful. We
Samaria?
love to do that.
Okay, cool. All right, thanks. Because we got about a minute left of the program,
Thanks for
and
having
they're
me.
gonna be screaming at me if I go over, but and didn't warn them. So, hey, listen, I appreciate all of y'all. Like I said, I was telling Linda, like an hour is not enough for this stuff. Y'all need to come
You're
back,
right. You're right.
and we need to do a series on this and get to all the issues, the slavery stuff, why we beefing with each other all the time, disrespectful, you know, like she said, the hoes and the bees and all this stuff. Like
Oh
we're
yeah,
not.
let's discuss that PTSD because
Yeah,
that is
because
there.
yeah, I just texted them I'm going to go over a couple of minutes, but
We're
so they know they got to edit the show now. But no, they because this is important. We need to, you know, because hey, look, and you talk about the ratchetness and stuff. Now I was binge watching All the Queen's Men, ratchet as you can get, you know.
I didn't like that.
I love
It
that.
was the most ratchetest program you could imagine, but I was binge watching it. I couldn't get enough of it. And see, you know, and I think Tyler Perry, with all the ratchetness that he puts on the screen and the Negroidian nonsense that he puts in his movies, and people now he's a billionaire. White folks ain't watching that stuff. You know, they're not watching.
Oh, but they do.
Yeah, but they don't watch it as much. We made Tyler Perry a billionaire. Black folks
Amen.
did.
That's right. That's right.
with Chadwick Boseman. Look how well did. I'm talking about what content.
Somebody's got you, Mike. You're echoing.
Okay, we don't have these.
Yeah, I turned my mic off. So
Okay, we don't have the alternatives. Look how well Black Panther did. And I mean, we actually got dressed up and went to the movie theater. We were so honored that our culture was shown in a positive light.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we don't have many choices, but hopefully the next show we can get into or even see how our Jewish brothers and sisters got through the Holocaust and say never again.
yeah, because
Right.
they, you know, and see, we gotta stop. We gotta stop with, you know, or they ain't gonna let me do this, or we gotta stop that. We
Right.
gotta
Right.
stop with that because there's, and I've said it on several different shows, and people got after me. There's money in that mentality. They write books. They're on the radio talking about it. Black folks with this defeatist attitude about we can't do this or we can't do that. And that's something we got to stop. Just like with welfare, we'll give you. You think that the white folks cared about us when they gave us WIC and SNAP? And no, they didn't care. They wanted the man to get out of the house because they know a black family together, like they say, divided we stand, divided we fall. United we stand, divided we fall. And they, because black folks back in the day when Darlene got married back then, and black folks
Did I
was
mention that I was next to a
no, but black Darlene got married in the 70s, but black folks held their head up high back then. Black men wore suits. The black women wore dresses below their knees. It's not all about the twerking and the, you know, and
Nudity, right? All of that.
yeah, all the twerking and the boobs hanging out and the butt hanging out and women with G strings and all that. That stuff wasn't going on back then. And the black marriage rate was, I'm about 3 minutes over, they're gonna kill me. The black marriage rate was 60 something percent, 70%. Now it's like everybody's shacking. Nobody's living together. I remember I got mad at my wife and I went to my mother's house. My mother said, "Go right back."
Yeah, right.
She said,
right.
"Go."
Deal with it.
She said, "Go right. You married her. Go deal with it." And we don't have that no. Now we'll take a kid in. Oh, come on in. We can instead of sending them back. We too soft. We buying Air Jordans for kids that's getting C's and D's. Giving them everything they want, and they're not. Back in the day, my mother couldn't afford to buy Air Jordans anyway. I had to buy my own. But we need to come back. I need you guys to come back. Samari, come back. Angela, Darlene, Linda. We need to talk about this some more because, I like Reverend Al and all those people, but the way the messages they sending out, I'm not feeling that. But you think white folks care if we march? They don't care. They look at them niggas.
No.
Marching again.
And again.
They've been marching since the 60s. And what has changed? Nothing. So I need you guys to come back. I appreciate y'all. I know y'all all busy. Darlene.
No, this is important because again, we need to discuss our weaknesses and help each other through this thing they call life.
Yes, I need you all. You guys.
We can't get unity without discussion. And I think we are a very broken people. And I'm not blaming that on white people. I'm blaming that on us. We're not doing what's good for one another, much less ourselves.
Yeah, you're right. We have to take responsibility for the position we are at in life today. We have to start taking responsibility.
I think
White folks know when they see Martin Luther King Drive, they turn around because they know Martin Luther King Boulevard, Martin Luther King Avenue, that's code for white folks. So when they see that, they turn around and go the other way because they know there's a concentration of Negroes that live
It's
there.
always one of the worst streets there is, and it's shameful. You name it after such a great man is disgusting.
Right,
It's
because
one of the worst avenues in urban towns.
right, 'cause even in Patterson, look at. I grew up in Jersey City, and JFK Boulevard was the nicest street in America, just about. No drama, no people on the corner, nothing. But you go a couple of blocks over to Jackson Avenue, that's now Martin Luther King Drive, is the most drama, ratchet, shootings, muggings, all kinds of stuff going on. And we gotta start addressing that.
I think we have ourselves to think about ourselves and recognizing the challenges that we cause ourselves, okay? And because there are things that we've done that have affected us adversely. And most importantly, I think that a lot of people need to learn how to stand in the courage of their conviction and stop waiting
Amen.
for someone else to approve what they do. Because if you believe it in your heart and your spirit bear witness with it, stand with it until you are, if I believe something, you're really gonna have to show me that I'm wrong, and when I see that, that's when I'm able to turn. But I'm gonna stand in the courage of my conviction because I don't just think of it like I'm a person that live in my head, all right? And I'm always looking at different things and challenging what I think. So when I think something, I believe it. But if you can show me I'm wrong, okay, but I'm not gonna just fall for what somebody else says because they think they have a position or a commissioner. I don't have to better than I am. So I'm gonna stand with what I believe first. And I think that when we learn and when we see young ladies, like there's someone that I know just get married and different things just fall in. And I'm like, oh my God, didn't you think before you got married? So continue to think, and join together and build.
Well, see, and there's a lot of us too that go along with the ratchetness. I go
Mm-hmm.
to,
Right.
I go to church. I'm a volunteer in my church. I'm on the media team. I'm one of the cameramen. And the places I hang out, though, nobody go to church. But you know what? They all know I go. And I don't care if they know, because I'm not trying to go along with the rap. I mean, I don't judge. That's your business. Jesus said that, you know, he who is without sin cast the first stone. So I know I'm not without sin. I probably sin every day in my thoughts, in my actions, everything. So, but we need to get together again, ladies. I really enjoyed y'all. And I was telling Linda was thinking that we didn't need as much time as we have. And I'm like, no, that's not enough. An hour is not enough to discuss all the things that we need to be talking about. So I appreciate you, ladies. I got about 2 minutes
I
left.
thank you.
So Angela
Yes.
cute too. Darlene, if you stop messing with Angela,
Okay,
her husband come after me. Linda, Linda, you ain't home yet? Good Lord of mercy. Oh my goodness.
okay, I can say my baby.
Okay, thank you, Darlene. Okay, thank you, Darlene. Thank you, Darlene, Angela, Linda,
Bye-bye.
Samaria. I want y'all all to come back. And Linda, you handle everything for us.
No problem, Ron. Just let us know.
Okay, yeah, be safe. Get home. Well, all the rest of y'all are home, but be safe. And we'll get back together soon. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much.
Hey.
Appreciate y'all.
All right.
Later.
Good night.